All right, today we're training. Fail during the concentric, fight the eccentric all the way down, and then barely lock it in and escape with my life. And I know some people are gonna disagree with this. Did anybody really like you anyways? I've made a lot of changes. One of those things being that recently I got an ALCAT, a methyl detox panel, and a micronutrient deficiency test, which I was borderline deficient on 5 amino acids, 2 of which being essential amino acids. How? Which led to me getting a custom supplement built specifically for my needs, so I'll let you know if it's worth the shit or not, because it's not cheap. Also, I've almost finished setting up the lab, which I know it's taken a long time, but the setup isn't even the difficult part. It's learning each individual method used to test for every category of supplement. Yeah. Luckily for me, there's a lady in Phoenix who is a genius that's taken me under her wing and is slowly teaching me the dark arts of supplement testing. I'm just a slow learner. Go to any Sylvan Learning Center if they're still around. You're gonna see a plaque of me on the wall because my parents spent a record amount of money to try to fix their stupid kid, but didn't work. I did, however, get a shitload of dinosaur books. Another change I made has to do with my training. Before every upper body day, I hit calves, which means that's 4, sometimes 5 days a week. And I know that's excessive, but it's been working. So anything that makes my calves look like less of a disappointment, I will do it. And I know some people are gonna disagree with this, even the fact that I'm doing a seated calf raise instead of a standing because the gastroc passes 2 joints, so you should stand to stretch more. I still think the most important thing is your own anecdotal experience. If you get a better connection on an exercise, that's probably the exercise that you should do. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's research to back this up, is I will position my feet a certain way, whether toes in or toes out, and selectively target either the lateral head or medial head that entire day. The next time I come in to train, I just switch the position of the feet and start off by targeting the other head, back and forth. Now, when it comes to warming up before you train your chest, yes, do all the things you need to do to mobilize and grease up those shoulders, but for me, I found the most important thing is to engage my mid and lower traps. I've found that it's nice to have a little bit of a pump and develop that mind-muscle connection. That way, when you need to pull those shoulders back and down, you can easily do it. The way I do that is the exact same way I warm up when I'm training my back. Let's throw a band around, tie it behind, create tension and distraction, and rotate back. Ooh, that sucks today. Now, my chest used to be one of my worst body parts. And the Smith machine is probably one of the key reasons my tits started to grow. And it's not because it's such an amazing exercise, it just allowed me to focus on what I now know is the most important thing to get your chest to grow, which is getting that chest as much as you can at length under load. See, previously, I would press with my elbows dropped down to about 45 degrees because I felt a better connection during the contraction. But what I noticed is as I drop into that negative, the eccentric, I would tip my shoulder and all the tension would go into my anterior delt, which is probably the reason why so many people, myself included, would say, you don't need to train your anterior delts, you hit them when you train chest. What I've learned is you definitely have to train your anterior delts if you train your chest correctly. The reason the Smith machine is such a good training aid is because it's a fixed path. All you have to focus on is pulling that elbow back and stretching that chest as you go into the negative. One thing that I think is odd is that for as many people complain about having their anterior delts jump in during chest, I haven't seen anybody have a setup that they do consistently before they bench, incline, dumbbell, whatever. You'll notice my setup is the same every time I do a pressing movement. I first pinch my shoulder blades back and down and get them set. That way my shoulders are pulled back. Then I flatten my back on the pad because I don't want an incline bench to turn into a flat bench or a flat to turn into a decline. And then finally, when I go into the eccentric, I'm really focused on pulling those elbows and flaring them out as much as I can to pull that stretch and that tension into my pec and not into my shoulder. Oh. I accidentally bought Cocoa Pebbles protein. It's not it. It's no Fruity Pebbles. To make sure everybody's on the same page, rep range does not matter. I did a set of 10, 8, 8. This one's gonna be 6. I might jump and do a set of 20. The most important thing in my eyes to make sure I'm consistently making progress is getting to that point of failure. And that's where things get a little bit tricky because true failure on these is pretty damn close to choking yourself to death. So, that's what we're gonna do. Fail during the concentric, fight the eccentric all the way down, and then barely lock it in and escape with my life. You guys remember that rescue dog I was telling you about that I basically traded my wife for? Hold on. Come on, Chubby. This way. The little bastard's already bitten me twice, but look at his mouth. How much damage is that gonna do? Next up, I'm doing slight incline dumbbell presses, but I'm gonna throw a little wrench in there because why not? I've noticed there's a lot of people that have very little time to get in the gym, so they might only have 30 minutes. There's obviously some great options in terms of collapsing time with drop sets, rest pause sets, compound supersets, but I wanted to test how effective it would be to have one exercise where you do interset stretching. Basically at the end of your last rep of a set, you go right into a 20 to 30 second stretch. Kind of counterintuitive because it sounds like you're adding more time to your workout, but in reality, you're replacing some of your rest time with more time under tension, so you should be able to bring the volume down overall and still get the same results. That felt awful. The idea is obviously to put together a program that you can do in 30 minutes, no excuses, and you'll still get incredible results. When I first got the bright idea to do this, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do 30 seconds because I know based upon the research, 20 seconds is kind of the bare minimum dose. I am barely getting 20 seconds. I'm afraid to use a stopwatch because I feel like even though I'm counting to 20 in my head, I'm counting real fast. Ow. The only problem with this is obviously this is a novel stimulus, so I'm gonna get sore. We can't really use that as a testing metric on whether or not it works. What I started to do is reach out to different MRI clinics. There's actually a mobile one that'll come drop off a big trailer here. How fascinating would it be if I did an intra-subject design study on myself and I did an MRI of different body parts? Say I trained one bicep really high reps, the other one really heavy, low reps. One tricep in a stretch position the whole time, one calf a different way. If you're in Arizona and you have a connection to an MRI, let me know. Shit, I'll fly for it, I don't care. Or if you wanna be a part of it and we can do other intra-subject design studies, I'm all for it. There's gotta be some random weirdo watching this that has access to an MRI machine that we can use to test the cross-sectional area of a muscle. That would be phenomenal. Hell, I'll even have one of the random women that's been in one of my videos to fart in a Ziploc bag for you. Sold. Now you might be sitting there thinking, that's a shitload of pressing movements to do consecutively. There's no way you're gonna be strong. And I'm still a fan of machine, cable fly, and even dumbbell flies to a certain extent. But there is no better way to overload that pec than with a pressing movement. On a fly movement, it's hard to keep it out of those piece of shit stabilizing muscles, like your biceps as you're coming down, or even your shoulders at the very bottom. But in a press, as long as you set up correctly, you'll keep it out of your anterior delts, and if you don't want it to jump into your triceps, just don't come up as high. I now prefer to save those movements to the very end, when my chest is already trash and it doesn't take much weight to finish it off. I haven't used this one yet, so let's see how heavy it is. Same thing as before. Shoulder blades, back, flare them out. Oh, that's nice. I don't care what people say, offer up is still pretty good. I got this for 1,600 bucks. It's no back page. We're used to be able to get a full body scrub from some random old cougar in her backyard above ground pool, but this is pretty nice. My chest is pretty toasty, so I'm probably gonna keep this real high rep, 20 reps. Something I've noticed that maybe you guys have too, if I have an exercise like this that I really connect with, I end up speeding up the tempo. I don't know if that's a good thing or that's a bad habit, but for me, It creates even better connection. Obviously, you can force out more reps. I think the amount of reps you get counteracts the quick, stupid pace. Can't wait to DoorDash the most disgusting food after this. A little post-workout Chinese food. This is such a great movement if you could set it up correctly, except none of the machines that are made to mimic this are wide enough, so you end up pressing on it. And it's a pain in the ass to do this at a regular gym because everyone hates you. But, oh well. Did anybody really like you anyways? Probably not. That brings up an important point on these. When you fail while still maintaining the connection with your chest. Who cares about how high you get it up and contract? I know it might feel like you're getting a better connection because you contract all the way through, but in my experience, what I've found is that deep stretch, maintaining the tension on the chest is the most important. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could contract all the way up, but you suck, you can't. I don't know how hot your gym is, but mine sucks. All right, the last thing I'm gonna do before I go in and feed that little chubby ball of anger is dips, but I'm gonna exaggerate the stretch at the bottom and hold it for a good 2-3 seconds before I contract up. And I'm not looking forward to it. If you want to follow along at home, here's the written workout, but I'll also put a free version of this in the app. I'll link it below so you can just download it and do it in there, and that way you can track your weights. Also, if you want to get notified when that 30-minute hypertrophy-focused workout comes out, there's a link below to an email list. And as always, every program is only $20. They're linked below. Good luck, because you probably won't make it through. You probably won't die. You might die.